Hi, this is Carolina, the Soul Coach. Welcome to my podcast. Hello and welcome to this week's Sunday Catchup podcast. How are you? And how was your week? I hope it was a good one. And take a breath. I actually don't know where the time goes. It goes by so quick. Honestly, I can't believe I'm actually recording another Sunday Catch-Up podcast. And it's been a similar week to the week before, to be fair. Lots of clearing, lots of more clearing, and lots of realizations, and lots of laughter. Feel like we've been living this week a lot, and loving, and generally, it's been an okay week. Nothing too exciting, nothing too challenging, just been a mediocre week. So how was yours? What happened? Was it a good one? Did you learn anything? Did you make any decisions? Any life-changing ones? How was it? I think it's good to reflect, isn't it? It really is. We did a chakra workshop today, a mini workshop, and it was really good. I actually loved it. We got the colouring pencils out and we were colouring our chakras, and I just love the flow of our chakras and how these beautiful energy centres work and how they all interlinked and work with each other, and it just absolutely flows beautifully, really does. And it was good. So I'm putting together an ebook for what we learnt today, because it was really nice, and it was so nice colouring in. I haven't coloured in since I was a child, and it was like my little girl came out to play, and it was really nice doing something very childlike, and it was really unexpected, but it was really good. And we were colouring in and listening to like a mantra meditation for each chakra. It was great. Anyway, so that was the chakra workshop today, and there was some real insight on this little workshop, and there always is. I think it's just about turning up, isn't it? And just being present and turning up, because how many times don't we turn up? But actually, when we turn up and we bring all of ourselves into the moment, magic happens. That's where the magic is. It's in those present moments. It's in those moments. So today, this morning was very magical. And the circumstance, and why I'm talking about this, is just that last night, or this week, I've had 2 members of our fabulous team off sick, unfortunately. And I know one of them is feeling better, and I hope the other person is feeling better too. But I hope they would be back today, and they and one of them wasn't, which then impacted on, oh goodness me, how can I run this workshop, because we're kind of 50% down on today's team. And Will very kindly, stepped in and covered. But there was a moment where I was like, I'm going to have to cancel the workshop. And it's like, oh my goodness me, which one's the priority? And people have booked on, and like, that's my commitment. But also I have this commitment to the shop. And so there was kind of like this choice to make, and it was really difficult, because it would have been easy to cancel the course and to postpone it, and to go into work in case the shop got busy, but then I was committed to running the workshop, and I really felt like I wanted to run it. But there's always choices to be made, isn't there? And there's always a payoff. Whatever choice we make and whatever decision we make, there's always a payoff. There really is. And so Will said, don't worry, I've got it. We've got it. Laura amazing. Shop manager, she had it, and then Will stepped in. So I was super grateful, and we rearranged the time so we could start early. And it was really, really meant to be, this workshop, and something that's come out of it that Alison, who's my colleague that works with me on the Reiki healing and the workshops and stuff, we've talked about doing a retreat in India, and we've talked about it, and we were going to do it for this year but never did it, blah, blah, blah. Circumstances were right, but we're seriously thinking about it for next year, and that came out of this morning's chakra workshop. So I'm seriously considering this, so I'm going to put it out to everyone. Would you like a retreat in India? Would you like to go and see India? And I've got 2 retreats in mind. One, and maybe to combine the 2 or to do them separately. Anyway, I'm digressing. I really am, because there has been a theme to this week. But I was thinking I'm going to go back to a retreat because I'm really excited about this. And whether to do a retreat so it's just very zen, or whether to actually incorporate some sightseeing as well and kind of do half-half. So yeah, watch this space on this. I'll tell you more about that as that unfolds. And yeah, that's very exciting. And we've launched this week, which is also very exciting, the Soul Coach store. So I've got the soulcoach.com, but also within that, we're creating a store, which we've never done before, to sell some of the Soul Coach stuff that we've created. So some some ebooks are on there about living a life of magic, and some other things will be going up. So Alistair's been creating that and doing that. And again, that's something else that we've been wanting to do, but haven't had time to do it. So that's been that's moving forward. So since kind of that May astrological event, and things seem to be moving forward. So super excited about that. And the retreat, I think, is going to be pretty exciting. As most of you would know by now, I love India. I just think it's incredible. And the people and the experiences and the temples and the hearts and I just love it. I just love the rituals and the colours and everything. And it would be such an amazing time, a retreat. So, as I say, I've already said it already, but watch this space. So what's been the theme? It's been about taking responsibility. And we were talking about this earlier as well in our workshop, and it has been a constant theme this week amongst us as a team at Quest, as customers coming in, conversations I've been listening to, just generally this theme is all about taking responsibility. And actually, what does that mean, taking responsibility? And one of the things that I talked about in the Living a Life of Magic show with Scott, where he interviewed me, is about taking responsibility. And part of the responsibility I've chosen to do this lifetime is to clear my program. And I've talked about this a few times about how is to clear the conditioning, clear the program, and take responsibility for how I feel, how I act, and how I think. And that's really, truly important to me. So I kind of just want to put this out there about taking responsibility and what your thoughts are about it, because the theme that's been coming up this week is that generally, most people don't want to take responsibility. And I think I touched this on last week's podcast. And it's just an observation, and I have no judgment on it whatsoever. And everyone leads a different life, and we all have choices to make, and we all do things very, very differently. And I'm just kind of exploring this whole taking responsibility. And really interesting. So I'm going to share a little story about taking responsibility, but also I'm going to use an analogy. And one thing that I've been noticing is that a lot of people, and I have done this in the past as well, but we go to other people to make ourselves feel better. So we might we might take responsibility by going to see, say, a healer. Yeah, Reiki healer, Reiki practitioner. We come in with problems, we have some healing, and we feel better. And so then we go about our life. But the problems haven't gone away, but we're feeling better, which is great. But then what slowly happens is, because of our programming and because of our conditioning, the issue doesn't go away and it comes back. And it's only until we can start taking responsibility for and working out what the core problem is, what that core issue is, can we do something about it. So if we have, for example, a leaky roof and we put a bucket under the leak, we feel comfortable. So then we leave the leaky roof. We have a bucket underneath catching the drips. But do we do anything about the leaky roof, or just we forget about it because we've caught the drips? We might have to go up and check and empty the bucket out and everything else, but sometimes we don't tend to the leaky roof. So then what happens? The roof caves in because we haven't dealt with the problem. And that can be what happens to us. We temporarily can fix things, make ourselves better, make ourselves feel better in the moment. We can go and have a meditation. We can go and have a singing bowl meditation. We can go and have some acupuncture, or we can have some reflexology, or we can go and do something that we think is going to make the difference. But then we get on with our lives. And if we don't deal with some of these issues, if we don't fix the leaky roof, then the problems are just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. And then we end up in deeper trouble. And life always gives us signals of areas and our bodies give us signals as to what needs, especially with regards to health and taking responsibility to our health. Our bodies will give us nudges as to what needs fixing. And so we can temporarily put a little plaster on it. But if we then don't use that energy and that vibration that we're receiving from all of these wonderful things to propel us to get to the root cause of what's causing the disharmony, the blockage, the issue, then we're not gonna solve it, are we? So it's using energy in order to take responsibility, and that's not just health. That's in our relationships. That's in our parenting. That's in how we deal with others. What are we complaining about? What are we whinging about? What is our story that we keep repeating? What are we not taking responsibility in our work? Or is there something that you really want to do and you're not doing it? So there's things in the way, and we can often very much just temporarily have fixes to feel better. But actually, if we want to create change, if we want better lives, we have to take responsibility in order to change that in whichever way. So let me give you an example. So back in 2005, 2006, 2007, I got a niggly, so I think it must have started in 2005. I got a niggly lower back. And it was niggling, and it would just every now and again go, which would mean then me resting and me not being able to do anything. And I just saw an osteopath who would fix it, and then I'd be okay for a little while, and then it would happen again. And then I'd rest it, and then it would happen again. And it was starting to get in the way of me living life. And I would do something about it, because I would go to the osteopath, or I would go and have some healing, or I think I went to some reflexologists, and it would temporarily fix it, but then it would come back again. And then what I remember, it was April 2006. I went to the gym and I was using a traction machine type thing, and my back just literally popped. And I was in agony. Now, my body had been giving me warning signals. It literally had. And I didn't go to the GP. I didn't go to the doctor. I was just temporarily putting sticky plasters on it till it literally popped. And I remember being in so much pain. I was pacing the downstairs in the middle of the night, not being able to sleep because I was in so much pain. I really was. It was just awful. And our really good friend Simon kept saying to us, you need to get Carolina to have an MRI scan. So I'd go to the GP, and the GP said, no, we can't MRI scan because obviously it's too expensive. Go to physiotherapy. So I went to physiotherapy. They just made it worse. And it was just so bad that in the end, and it was pressing on my sciatic nerve. And in the end, we paid privately because my osteopath wouldn't treat it until he could see what the issue was. So we paid privately, and we had pretty much no money because I couldn't work because I was in so much pain, and Will had just started a sabbatical, and we didn't realise he had private health cover that stopped when he went on the sabbatical. So we had to get a MRI scan. So we got an MRI scan that we paid privately for, took it to our osteopath, and he said, I can't treat that. He said, it's just too bad. And Simon had been really nagging us about this. You've got to get it looked at and all the rest of it. And in the end, he said, you've got to go and see this particular guy who's a back specialist. He came, he was such a good mate, he really did, because he wasn't listening to us saying, we can't afford it, we can't do it, or anything else. We had to put the MRI scan on a card. We then, he came and got my MRI results. And do you know what? I remember this, it was my daughter's birthday, and we were at Thorpe Park, and she was doing some event, and I couldn't join in because of my back. And I phoned the doctor and told him what I'm about to tell you. And he said, oh, that's what we suspected. I went into this GP surgery crying because I was in so much pain. In the end, Will had to go in and tell him that I was in so much pain. He still wouldn't give me any MRI scan. He gave me morphine. Honestly, to help with the pain. Shocking, really shocking. Anyway, this isn't a rant about GPs, but it's just part of the story. So we got the MRI scan. Simon picked the MRI scans up and took them to this person that we were somehow reluctant about doing. I even took myself to A&E because I was in so much pain in the middle of the night and there wasn't anything they could do. And then Simon phoned me on the way back from seeing this guy, and he said these words to me. And I phoned the GP up and I told him, and he said, yeah, that's what we thought. It's just shocking. Anyway, he said these words to me. He said, Carolina, if you don't sort your back out, you're going to be paralysed. I was like, what? He said, if you don't sort your back out, you're going to be paralysed. If you don't sort your back out, you're going to be paralysed. That was a game changer for me. I'm like, if I don't take responsibility, if we don't somehow get some money together and value my health, what on earth am I doing? So, we had to fudge some stuff, and anyway, we went and saw a consultant up in Harley Street. We had to get a credit card. We maxed our credit card out and we got my fat back fixed. Literally, it was really scary. And he took one look at us, the consultant up in Harley Street. I walked in and he told me, without even looking at the MRI scan, because it was his physio that had looked at it before, he didn't even look at it, and he said, because I had the MRIs with me, and he said, I know what you've got. You have a prolapse disc. So basically the disc is full of, if you imagine a donut, this disc is a donut, and then the jam is the middle bit. So basically the jam had come out of the donut and was pressing on my sciatic, and I got numbness in my foot, and I had drop foot from this sciatic nerve that was going down, that was giving me the constant pain. And he said, you have two options. You can either have an injection or you can have an op. And we were like, oh, we don't know what's the best thing to do. And Will said these words. He said, if it was your wife, what would you do? And he said, I would operate, because obviously there was all sorts of risks around this. But had I sneezed, had I had a car accident, had I anything, I'd have been paralysed. Oh my God, that was such a wake-up call for me. So basically we took responsibility, paid for it on our credit card, and got it fixed. And he literally shaved it and then filled it with some space age gel, and put the jam back in the donut. And then, so that was that. It was a big strain on everyone, as you can imagine, but we did it. We took responsibility. And then what happened was I had to do the hard work, because it wasn't just good enough that I'd had the op. I then had to take time to do the rehab. Every day for 6 weeks, I went to a swimming pool with a woggle. A woggle is one of those bendy things, toggle woggle. I think it's called a woggle, but it's like one of these bendy things that you walk and you hold, and you have to really strengthen your core. So I had to walk in the swimming pool with one of these woggle things in order to strengthen my core and strengthen my back. And my friends, Will, everyone stepped up to help, honestly. And I only stopped, and I did it for 6 weeks every day, thanks to friends driving me and everything. And I stopped because somebody complained about me doing it in the pool, because I went in on a class for over 50 swim, and I was in their way. Honestly, you can't write the script, can you? But we had to sort the root cause out, or I'd be paralysed. Now, you think back to the leaky roof and you think drip, 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 put a bucket underneath, and then the roof gives in. You have to sort the roof out, don't you? You have no choice. You haven't got a roof on your house. So it's like, why do we leave it to that point until we do something about it? Why do we leave it until our relationships are irreparable till we do something about it? What is that about that? So it's about us taking responsibility, isn't it? And getting to the root cause and then going. So it's not just about getting a sticky plaster put on. It's about getting a sticky plaster temporarily put on in order to look at the core reason, that what is that issue, and then being able to do it, and then being able to do what is needed in order to move forward. And just like my back, we needed to take responsibility. I needed to get it fixed. I needed to do what we needed to do. But why on earth did I wait until hearing that news? What is it? I think fundamentally there's fear, laziness, I don't know what it is, but very often we have to have a big enough reason. We don't listen to the signals. We don't listen to the signs. So yeah, this has been the theme about taking responsibility, and we only can take responsibility for ourselves. We can't do it for someone else. I mean, Simon stepped up and said, you need to do this, guys. And he physically took those MRI scans. And I'm so grateful to him, because I may not be where I am today, and I'm very, very grateful to life for that. And actually, while I was recovering from the back op was when I had the idea of opening Quest, and then the rest is history. But the whole point of sharing that story is about taking responsibility and where we don't and what can happen. And luckily for me, my roof didn't cave in on my house, but it could very easily have done. So I think it's just to wrap this up. It's just about reflecting in our own lives of where we're taking responsibility. Where are we starting to take responsibility? Where are we maybe taking some responsibility but not fully? And where are we not taking responsibility? So one of the things that we've recently, my husband and I have been doing, as I've been chatting, what Will and I have been doing, is about our health. And we're taking the responsibility about not having the sugar, and he's been listening to some really interesting podcasts about how sugar's so bad for us. And I will share next week the podcast he's been listening to about sugar and how sugar is not exactly great for us. Everything in balance, but there is lots of reports about sugar. But anyway, exercise is my next thing about taking responsibility is exercise. And so it's literally taking responsibility for every area in our life. And I think some of the things are about some of the things to look at about where you're not taking responsibility is the things you keep talking about, what you're going to do, not going to do, the things you're complaining about the most. So how can you take responsibility over that? So yeah, that's it. That's been the theme. And I hope you've enjoyed listening to this podcast. And food for thought, isn't it? And I'm going to really think about what other areas in my life I need to take responsibility for. I've been taking responsibility for the clarity, but what else? What else is there? And you know what? If you're already taking responsibility for all areas of life, then I salute you. I absolutely do, because it's not hard and it's not for the faint-hearted. It really isn't. And we have to go through quite a lot. We have to go to some dark places in order to take some responsibility. But blame is never blame. We can't blame others. We really can't blame others. We fully have to take action, take responsibility, and look within. So let's just take a breath. And breathing out. Is it time to repair your leaky roof? Is it time to get uncomfortable? To become comfortable again? But in a different area, in a different way. Where is life causing you to take responsibility? Taking another breath in and a breath out. Have a great week. Enjoy your week. Enjoy looking at areas where you need to take responsibility. It's liberating. It's empowering. It's fantastic, and it's so freeing. It really is. And the benefits of having a brand new roof, a great back, are insurmountable. It is incredible. The rewards are amazing. I have life back. Quest was born. So many people have benefited from it. Honestly, it's absolutely worth taking responsibility. It really is so freeing and so empowering. Until next week, take care.